In this video we're going to be discussing who would win out of Broly and Gas from the Dragon Ball Super manga. So I was just having a chat in my Discord server and I thought this would be a good battle to do. Obviously we know in the Granolah arc that it is ultimately a race to become the strongest in the universe. Granolah wishes to be the strongest in the universe, he becomes the strongest in the universe, he is eventually surpassed by Ultra Ego Vegeta, and then of course Granolah retakes the lead again, only for Gas to come along and wish to be the strongest in the universe via Elec, of course. Of course, true Ultra Instinct Goku would then surpass Gas, and then Gas would then retake the lead, only for Frieza to come along and basically body every single one of them. So surely that means Frieza is the strongest in the universe, and of course, as I put it in the title of this video, top of the league. So you're probably asking, how exactly is Broly even in this equation, Revolution? Well, I'll get to that in just a moment. Now, obviously, in the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, we get Piccolo rise to the levels of a Goku and Vegeta with his new orange form, vastly surpassing the Gammas, who he also stated were at the level of Goku and Vegeta himself from his own perspective. Then of course we got Gohan Beast, who surpassed Cell Max, who defeated Orange Piccolo. Then we're getting multiple characters that are further going top of the league, as you could say. Even we stated at the end of the Granolah arc that maybe somebody else would pop up in the universe that would be the strongest in the universe. Was he talking about Piccolo, Cell Max, then Gohan Beast? Very possibly. But the strange thing is that the promotional material surrounding the superhero movie constantly stated that Broly was the strongest. Now here's the contentious part. Does that mean a current Broly? It very much could do. Broly would have got stronger in the time after the Broly movie events. He likely would have received a Zenkai after the fight against Gogeta Blue. But how much was that Zenkai? Probably large? Who knows? What we do know is that Broly, despite now seemingly being the strongest according to all the promotional material, and even Toriyama, who stated that it would have taken a perfected Cell Max to defeat Broly, hasn't been taken into account in respect to the race for strongest in the universe during the Granolah arc. Obviously we had the statement from Whis stating that nobody was stronger than Goku and Vegeta quite at the beginning of the arc. There's even statements from Toyotaro stating that Goku, Vegeta, Granolah and Gas are the strongest in the universe. So it's pretty much almost definitive that at that time they were stronger than Broly. But there is a condition that could actually answer why Broly wasn't really taken into account during those equations. Now just before we move on, obviously a lot of these statements were surrounding the movie version of Dragon Ball Super superhero, but as we've seen with the manga adaptation, and it's gone on for a long time, not that much has been particularly changed. There's been additions, but in terms of the overall hierarchy of characters and where their powers lie, not much has really been changed. In fact, we got more about Broly in the manga than we did in the anime, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Now just to set the premise of why Dragon Ball Super Broly movie version of Broly could actually be taken into account here. Obviously, we know that Broly got to Super Saiyan full power, and he vastly surpassed the likes of Goku and Vegeta in their post-tournament of power Super Saiyan Blue forms. They will be complete Super Saiyan Blue in the manga, perhaps even Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, as he had attained that form already in the manga. Obviously there's no true full adaptation of the Broly movie in the manga, we only really have specials and flashbacks. But all we do know is that Super Saiyan full power Broly was able to compete somewhat to some degree against a Blue Fusion Gogeta Blue. And that's a really important fact. He competed with a Blue Fusion. Blue Fusion is astonishingly powerful, and people consistently underrate the level of power that a Blue Fusion has, and they overrate the power creep in which Goku and Vegeta grow in the Dragon Ball Super manga. Obviously at the end of the movie, Goku compares Broly to Beerus. He says that he's probably stronger than Beerus, and I'm going to say this, guys, I believe that he's only making that reference in terms of Broly's raw power reserves as a Super Saiyan full power, okay? I don't believe he's necessarily saying that Broly can beat Beerus. As we know, Beerus is incredibly capable, and in the manga Goku has seen him at full power, but Beerus has a lot of godly techniques that make him the ultimate martial artist, way beyond even Goku and Vegeta. And I'm going to make another video on this matter, but it's really about the control that he has over his level of power, something Broly certainly doesn't have. Now people are consistently surprised when it turns out that Beerus is still stronger than Goku and Vegeta despite their numerous power-ups, but all we have to do is look at the beginning of the Universal Survival arc, the Tournament of Power arc, I guess you could call it, where Beerus states that it would take complete Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta millions of years worth of training to catch up to him and be his rival. Millions of years. That's at least 20,000 plus lifetimes of Vegeta at the level of growth that he's already attained during this lifetime that he's gone through. We know that this version of completed Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta was a match for Goku, stated by Whis, and we know that completed Super Saiyan Blue Goku, not too long before this event, was basically a match for Zamasu. What do we also know? Base Vegito was pretty much a match for Zamasu. But what do we also know about Vegito? He can stack Super Saiyan Blue on top. Now that's thousands of times the level of base Vegito. Go back to that Beerus comment about millions of years of training. That's how much stronger Blue Fusion is over the complete Super Saiyan Blue forms at the beginning of the Tournament of Power. What would need to happen for Goku and Vegeta to catch up to even Vegito Blue, and don't forget, Gogeta Blue should technically be stronger, is their rate of growth would need to increase exponentially. But maybe it has. The Ultra forms certainly would have helped and helped them close that gap. But like I said, Broly Movie Broly competed with a chronologically later Blue Fusion in Gogeta Blue. Gogeta Blue did beat him, but Broly did take numerous blows from that version of Gogeta Blue. So, like I said, he could be potentially thousands of times stronger than a Broly movie arc, Super Saiyan Blue, Goku and Vegeta, potentially even Blue Evolution. So essentially, Goku and Vegeta's power creep would have needed to increase exponentially in the next two arcs, the Moro arc and the Granolah arc. But what do we also know about their Ultra forms? That according to Vegeta, Jiren wasn't that much stronger than them in their Blue extension forms, and Ultra Instinct was a match for that version of Jiren. So he is literally saying that in terms of raw power, in terms of strength, that it wasn't that much stronger. Of course, what we also know about these Ultra forms is they can grow in strength themselves whilst battling. So there is that to take into account. But still, you're probably saying Broly still wasn't taken into account. Broly may not have been taken into account because it's very possible that he cannot turn Super Saiyan anymore, or he cannot control himself when he's in Super Saiyan, so he's not considered a warrior, because warriors generally have control of their abilities to fight. Now obviously the Whis comments in chapter 69, I believe it was, weren't the only statement. There was also Goku calling Moro 7-3 the toughest opponent he'd ever faced. But this is an argument that is really about interpretation. Some people believe that he's saying Moro was the toughest. It spanned the course of several months to ultimately beat Moro, which has never happened before in the history of Dragon Ball. Even Broly was defeated in a matter of hours, albeit Fusion, but Fusion wasn't even on the table against Moro because Moro knew Force Spirit Fission. He was incredibly difficult to defeat. Now guys, that's just an interpretation of Goku's statement, and it very much could be true, albeit it could be the reverse. Maybe it was Broly being surpassed in that moment. Now I know people will argue that each new villain gets stronger, and that has been the case for the majority of Dragon Ball, and honestly guys, I really wish that was still the case. I would actually prefer Moro was stronger than Broly, because I actually think Moro is a better antagonist than Broly, to be brutally honest. But even leading into new material after the Broly movie, there's been multiple statements stating that they've had to change the dynamic because simply Broly was too strong. So this interview was quite a while ago, but Akio Ayoku, who's heavily involved in the making of the Dragon Ball movies, stated that they would have to go in a different direction with the next movie. Superhero movie was already in planning at that point, but Ayoku stated that Broly was too powerful, so I think we'll probably go in an entirely different direction next time. Whether they did or not remains to be seen, but once again, Toriyama did state that it would take a complete Cell Max to beat Broly. Once again, the argument is still whether it's a current Broly or the Broly movie Broly. Of course, even at the beginning of the Granolah arc, we had Victor Uchida stating that Goku still needs to surpass Broly. So all the major players are still putting Broly close to the top of the league, but once again we're getting back to why wasn't he taken into account by the likes of Whis or Toyotaro in the race to become the strongest in the universe. Well, the best theory out there at the moment, like I said, is that he cannot turn Super Saiyan or control Super Saiyan. I think the best statement made was actually in the Granolah arc itself, that being the strongest in the universe, or strongest warrior in the universe, as we know that Beerus isn't being taken into account here, is really about a moment in time. Vegeta states this whilst fighting against Granolah. Whilst facing against Granolah, Vegeta states, "Here's another tidbit. Second strongest, rankings are all well and good, but they only reflect a moment in time. Once that moment has passed by, it's nothing but history." The Broly movie at this point, and Broly turning Super Saiyan full power, is, guess what? History. So, in terms of the rankings which Vegeta is clearly talking about here, he isn't taking Broly into account because the Super Saiyan full power is history. And if he can no longer turn into Super Saiyan full power, the strongest in the universe rankings are essentially a reflection in time, a moment in time, and Broly isn't at those current power levels, as he only really has his base form power at this time, and as we know from the superhero arc, his base form actually seems to be on par with Goku's base form, which would actually indicate that Goku and Vegeta have actually closed the gap on Broly, not vice versa. So that could explain why the Dragon, Whis, and even Toyotaro are not taking Broly into account at this moment in time. This is quintessentially what the whole Granolah arc is about, is the constant changing in the rankings of who the strongest in the universe is. But if Broly cannot access his Super Saiyan full power form, or even his regular Super Saiyan state, or maybe even his Akari state, then his base form's unlikely to be at the levels of Goku and Vegeta. So from the Broly movie to the superhero arc, it's unlikely Broly's done any meaningful training, and even if he did manage to go Super Saiyan, he wouldn't be able to control it and likely would have destroyed Vunpop without the assistance of Goku and Vegeta or Gogeta stopping him. Now I picked Gas in particular for this battle, and I spent a lot of time talking about Broly, but I picked Gas mainly because other than Frieza, considering the Granolah arc is mainly a race to become top of the league, Gas is typically the strongest, okay? Frieza just turns up at the end, that's why I've not chosen him. Gas is stronger than Ultra Ego Vegeta and True Ultra Instinct Goku by the time he gets to his zombie Gas state. Vegeta against Granolah stated that he couldn't reach the level of power that Beerus had, and we all know that Beerus only showed him a small part of his power. So it's likely that Beerus is still considerably stronger than Ultra Ego Vegeta. But what we also know is that Chilai still refers to Beerus in the superhero movie as well as the manga adaptation as the most feared entity in the universe. And as I keep saying, while she isn't necessarily a good gauge on power levels, she would have heard that from somebody else, and the only person she could have heard that from is Goku. And of course we also know that Goku has brought Broly to the planet to protect him from Frieza. Now Frieza wouldn't be a threat to Broly if the promotional material and Toriyama was right about Broly concerning being the strongest, and basically using Broly as the benchmark as the one who couldn't defeat a completed Cell Max, but implying that he could defeat Cell Max as we saw him in the superhero movie. But like I said, this could all be referring to Broly as of the current time, but we know that Broly hasn't really got control over his power, as stated by Goku. He states that he's gotten better, but he's still a problem, so he's not got it fully under control. We literally see that in the manga and the movie itself. And I'll keep going back to control, and I will in a future video, but even Frieza stated at the end of the Broly movie, if he got that power from the Broly movie under control, he would basically be undefeatable. It also makes little sense to be hiding him from Frieza if he really is truly the strongest. But of course, there's no definitive answer here. It could be Broly movie Broly they're referring to, or it could be a current Broly. Which version could potentially stand a chance against Gas? It really is in regards to how much you think the power creep Goku and Vegeta have had since the Broly movie. I personally don't think it's quite at the level of millions of years of training to match a Blue Fusion and Beerus' level of power, but I do believe they would have got a lot closer to that level of power now. So what I will say is Broly movie Broly version is conditional based on all the things I've talked about so far. If that condition doesn't happen, then it really is just referring to Broly from the current superhero movie and superhero arc. I'm pretty much 50-50 on which version it is, but I think people should be more open to the fact that the idea that it could be Broly movie Broly is much more conceivable than people give it credit for. Now, does this mean Broly beats Gas? No. And I'm even going to extend that tomorrow as well, but to start with Gas. Gas wished to become the strongest in the universe via Elec. As we saw with Granolah, they didn't just get a raw power increase to become the strongest in the universe. They got a lot of techniques and capabilities with it. And during their fights with Granolah, Goku, Vegeta and Gas, they got used to their abilities and were able to control their abilities. They had greater control over their power than anybody in the universe, as stated by Elec. The wish didn't just give them power, it gave them the best of everyone's abilities in the universe. Granolah and Gas were obviously also trained and gifted martial artist fighters. So it is quite possible that Gas, if he's aware of Broly's power, whether it's the Broly movie power that's still the strongest or whether it's his new power as a superhero, he might be aware of that power and may be able to use his abilities and not get caught off guard like he did against Frieza. Remember, he didn't know Frieza had his black form, so he was caught off guard and he was at the end of his life force. So given that I don't think the gap in raw power is going to be quite as big as what we saw in the Broly movie, I think there is a chance that Gas can find a way to win this fight if he ends it early. And in regards to Moro, I think Moro in particular has the perfect technique to combat Broly. You would literally use him as a battery pack. So whilst the new villains may not be as strong as the Broly movie Broly, they definitely are more difficult or have techniques that make them harder to beat than Broly. Broly was really just a raging berserk raw power monster. So in terms of the current Broly, like I said, base Goku and base Broly look like they're on par with each other. Of course, one of them may be holding back, but if it is that they're on par with each other, that indicates that Goku and Vegeta have likely somewhat caught up to Broly, considering Broly's base was on par with their Super Saiyan levels from the Broly movie. Obviously we can stack transformations from there, and Broly's Super Saiyan state is beyond the blue levels of Goku and Vegeta, potentially on par if not beyond the Ultra levels. Then he has Super Saiyan full power. Given that Goku and Vegeta have actually been catching up to him in that time between the Moro and Granolah arc, surely with his potential hypothetical transformations taken into account, he would have been taken into account during the rankings. Like I said, I believe it only reflects a moment in time. So if it was Broly movie Broly, I believe the gap between the movie and the current superhero movie levels, even the Granolah arc, has been closed considerably, and Gas would stand a chance even if he is at a raw power disadvantage due to the amount of abilities and control over his power in comparison to Broly. But if this is just a current Broly and he can still stack all of his transformations on top, Gas stands no chance at all. The gap in raw power would just be unrecoverable from Gas's part. So this video pretty much turned out to be an almost Broly movie Broly vs Gas video, but I wanted to cover both potential options of Broly because I am pretty much 50-50 on it. But I want you guys to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Who really was top of the league? Obviously it reflected a moment in time, so Broly wouldn't have been taken into account if he can no longer turn Super Saiyan. But if he was to be taken into account, would Gas be stronger than Broly? Let me know your thoughts. I'm looking forward to reading them. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Smash a like on the video. Lend me your energy. Until next time, Ad Astra.